What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Rambo, Last Blood, new movie out in theaters. I need to stop saying that at the beginning of movie reviews. Eventually, this will not be a new movie. It is probably already not a new movie. And it's definitely not a movie I would recommend going to see. Maybe if you were like a teenager and, you know, you're not really too keen on storytelling, and just want to see. I mean, even as an action movie, this isn't great. Not necessarily like the biggest Rambo fanboy. I mean, I really enjoyed the first one. Don't really remember the second one. The previous one, it was like 2012 or whatever when they did the last Rambo. Actually, kind of like that one. A little bit, definitely. It's a violent porn kind of a movie. So there's a lot of killing of people that are brown generally in these movies, except for the first one. The first one, he's going to Portland, and the police, or not Portland, but Oregon, somewhere in Oregon. I think it was a coastal town. The small town, and they were trying to kill him. So the first one was definitely more of a commentary on how the U.S. treated soldiers, and still, in a lot of ways, how our government really gives a shit about people coming back from killing for them with PTSD and all kinds of problems. But this is a far. I mean, here's the thing. This is like a two-part movie. The first part of this movie is like if somebody did a 90s TV version of Man on Fire. Like some of the scenes where people are driving are some of the worst scenes I've seen. Like it really feels like I'm watching like an episode of Seinfeld, and they're driving. Even although those scenes tend to play better. These scenes when people are driving are just horrible. The story is stupid as shit. Like it opens, he's living near the border of Mexico, in Mexico. I don't really know. And for some reason, he's building a giant tunnel system. So the first part is like Man on Fire or Taken. Her daughter's trying to find her real dad. I don't even know if she's her daughter. It's just he's living with this old Mexican woman and a girl who's supposed to be I guess related to the old Mexican lady. I don't know. But she's trying to go find her dad. And, of course, she gets kidnapped because she goes to Mexico. And then it's all about Sylvester Stallone finding her. But basically when he finds out she's missing, he's instantly given the information on where to find her in Mexico. Like, he finds her in Mexico faster than it took her to find her dad in Mexico. So he goes to Mexico, effortlessly finds her, which that whole part of her being, like, when she goes to Mexico, she meets with her friend, and her friend is, like, basically Jolena from Kill Tony. If you ever watch that show, the band dresses up as characters. Grunberg, the drummer, a lot of the times dresses up as a chola. And even Joel's representation of a chola is far more authentic than what we see in this movie. This movie is basically represents, and she lives literally on the border. Like when her friend's driving, like the wall, is on one side of her car, and then immediately on the other side of the street is just ghetto housing. And so she meets her friend who's super cholaed out, like mint clean flannel, buttoned at the top, giant gold earrings, super thick, which, I mean, makeup, I mean, it's not a look like you don't see Mexicans with this look. It is, but clearly this is like if Disney had a chola character, that this is the person. Like if Disney wanted to dip its toe into like being racist, this would be like the thing. So she goes, of course, her friend sells her out and to like sex trafficking. This movie is like written by like somebody who just has heard stories about Mexico. Like they get all of their like their ideas of what Mexico is like from watching Fox News or something like that. So she goes to find her dad. Her friend sells her out into like a sex trafficking ring or whatever, like whatever the new hot button topic is on the news. And effortlessly, Sylvester Stallone goes and finds her amidst all kinds of bad acting and just stupid scenarios. He finds her within like the first, half of this movie, finds her, brings her back. For some reason, like she's being drugged, whatever. She's not like, she's probably sick. Maybe she has like some infections, whatever, but she's not like dying. But on the way back from wherever she was at the sex ring to his compound with like tunnels for some reason, like out in the middle of nowhere land, she just dies. She just dies. No real reason. It's just like, it's not like she OD'd, because the way it's shown, it's like, oh, it's like an hour later through the car ride, she just kind of goes to sleep and never wakes up, which is just mysterious death. So of course, Sylvester needs to, and when this movie started, by the way, like he's going through his tunnels, I forgot 5 times which movie I was watching. Like I thought, oh, is this the new Rambo? Like a new, because it has his production company is like something to do with Rocky, Balboa Industries or whatever. So seeing that graphic flash at the beginning of the movie, for whatever reason, I was very confused. This movie was very un-Rambo-ish for most of it until he goes effortlessly and goes to avenge the death of this girl that he is like a surrogate father to. I don't know. But before he goes to kill people, he like starts setting up booby traps in these tunnels that are like, in the beginning of the movie, he's going through these tunnels, and I'm like thinking he's going to turn a corner and there's going to be a boxing ring. But he's going through these tunnels, and he's literally getting flashbacks from Vietnam. Like he built tunnels to trigger his PTSD. But before he leaves, he sets up these booby traps. So the second half of the movie is very much like a mix between Home Alone and Apocalypse Now. Like just, guerrilla warfare mixed with booby traps. So he sets up all these booby traps, and he goes and he kills the leader of the gang and comes back, and he's basically just trying to bait everybody to follow him back so he can kill everybody. So the only entertaining part of this movie is when he lures them back into his cave system, and you see like just super graphic murder. That's basically what the movie has become, is just like murder porn. But it takes like most of the movie before you get to the small thing where the bad guy, well, I mean, they are bad guys, where the bad guys are following Rambo. And the only Rambo thing, okay, now he's got the flashbacks, he's got like setting up the booby traps. The only real Rambo thing about Rambo is the fact that he uses a knife for a lot of, he doesn't use a gun. Like in the last one, he just had a big Gatling gun. This one, he's using a knife. So that's what makes this movie a Rambo movie versus like the Expendables 5 or whatever. And the bad guy in this movie, like the what becomes the nemesis, he's like the bodyguard or whatever for the kingpin that he goes to kill, is like, it's nothing set up. This whole movie would have been better which the director of this movie, by the way, was a second unit director for Man on Fire. So kind of surprising that he directed the far more superior version of the first half of this movie. But if they had made the movie where he's going to have to kill all of these guys to get his daughter or whatever she is to him, he has to, and then because he goes to kill them, they follow him back to his, like, whoever wrote this movie has just, there's zero writing. It felt like they copy pasted a few like bullshit cocaine induced brainstorming sessions into Word, and just copy pasted them, and then just like nothing makes sense. It's like 4 bad movies all in one. Just horrible. And then at the very end of the movie, they have like the touching montage, like slideshow of scenes, not scenes, but just still images from previous entries in the Rambo franchise. But it was like the end credits with those still images was better than the entire movie. It's just a bad movie. I can't believe. And there's a scene with a profile view of Stallone talking to like this random love interest that shows up in the movie. He's like, it's this weird scene. Like the director thinks he's like an artist all of a sudden. But Sylvester Stallone's so old, he literally looks like a puppet from the Genesis music video, Land of Confusion. Go watch the video if it's just really creepy. He looks the oldest you've ever seen Sylvester Stallone in this scene. And it's just stupid. It's a stupid scene. It's a stupid movie. Like it's crazy. But I'm sure like Trump supporters would love it. It's just like their worst nightmares with the quality of writing that they're used to. But that's it for this episode of The Ray Taylor Show. New episodes daily. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at inspireddisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Peace out!